Five Nights at Candy's. One of my favorite fan games. I always loved this game growing up. Did it ever get a sequel? Yes. It sucks. It's FNAF 3, but worse, in a way to the point. I don't even want to cover it on the channel as a Let's Play series. Yeah, it's bad, and I did play it once in 2022, only one of the nights, to show how boring it was. Also, one of the nights was like the length of the FNAF 1 night, which is just crazy there. So imagine FNAF 1, but with boring mechanics. To be fair, I could have said FNAF 3, but I haven't gotten to that at the time I'm making this video. I'm on night 4 FNAF 1 on my FNAF 1 playthrough, which you guys should totally go check out. Triple Threat, aka episode 2, is out right now. Anyways, like I was saying, the nights suck. So let's go over each night. Also, I didn't bother reusing my footage because I don't like watching old footage. With I used this Xbox game recording thing on my old laptop, and the audio is so delayed. But yeah, I used someone else's footage. And yeah, so thanks to Toy Bonbon Games, because I even tried getting my own footage, but the aspect ratio was really weird. It was like a 4:3 square, even though my computer showed it on full screen when I played it. So I don't know what's going up there. I tried in OBS putting on the game thing, and it still did it. So I don't know. But yeah, anyways, yeah, you're in a factory supposedly, more like a warehouse in my opinion. It looks like a warehouse. I'm getting wild off script here, and that's basically all I have in this first segment. So let's get straight into night 1. Well, before we talk about each night, we gotta talk about how the game starts. And that's by some friends reminding you about a bet we made with spending 5 nights in the factory. Again. Yeah, that's right. Again! We're stupid enough to go back. Also, we're stupid enough to go back. Also, before we get to it, we are the night guard's kids from the first game. So yeah, we're going back to this factory with animatronics, and stupid enough to go, and stupid enough not to bring good supplies. And I said flashlight. I was wrong. It's a flash camera from your camera. Yeah, flash from your camera. Still, what the hell is that logic? Anyways, that will help fight against the animatronics, and a tablet with camera provided. Anyways, into the night gameplay. Night 1 starts off with us fighting Wizard New Candy. That's right, a new version, Sydney. Not the one from Five Nights at Candy's 1. A new version of her that was used in the 90s after the old Sydney. And she gets filled with very simply. Remember in Five Nights at Freddy's 3, when you would have to fight Spring Boy with audio lures? Well, it's the same way in this game. But when a character like Sydney appears in your hallway, use your phone lure, yes, a phone lure, to keep her away. So if you're looking at the screen right now, which you probably most likely are, unless you're putting this on in the background and listen, there's these little there's cameras, and then you see those little green boxes. Those are phones in each room. And you see this hallway we're in right now currently. That's actually good timing this thing brought up. If there's a character that appears in that hallway while you flash, those green boxes, you click them to lure them into a room by you. That's basically all I had. And I also talked about I was going to re-download the game, which I did re-download the game. I tried it. It was boring. I'm not going to do that for every other night. But yeah. That's pretty much the night segment. I know it's short, I'm talking about, but what else do you want me to talk about here? Anyways, we'll talk about the mini games you get at each night. So we'll start with night 1. Before we talk about the mini game real quick, one thing I don't have in my script that I never mention in this script at all is to make this game even more boring, there is no background music. I know how boring that is because my older videos, mainly Fortnite and Minecraft, really didn't have any background music. So that also sucks when you're just sitting there for like 9 up to 8 to 7 minutes, I don't remember how long exactly, without any music. So yeah, anyways, now let's talk about the minigames. So the minigames the first one starts with you as Chester. And you wander around this place, and as you see here in the back part of the service, you see there's no version 2 for him to be made, which sucks, but yeah. You wander around the pizzeria until you go to your office, and you find a key. And the door that we went to at the beginning, that was locked, yeah, you head back there, and you go in, and then the game ends. That's all it is. Anyways, on to night 2, I guess. Just a PSA, this is the shortest one out of all of them. Yeah, this section and night 5 are the shortest ones. So, night 2, can you guess who gets introduced? It's Chester! More specifically, Wizard Chester! The guy we just played at in the minigame. That goes, I think, for almost every minigame in this game. Anyways, Wizard Chester here, he bangs at your vents and scatters, well, no, he doesn't scatter. No, he bangs at your vents like he's doing now. You see that phone, you press it, and he just scatters. That's what I was trying to say. Yeah. It's super easy, it's super boring, but I guess in the later nights, it can get pretty chaotic. So, yeah. Like I said, there's really not so much else to talk about this night. You still deal with Sydney, and then now you deal with Wizard Chester banging at your cameras. And not at your cameras, your vents. So, yeah, anyways. Let's talk about the minigame, because there's not much else here, and not much else with the minigame either. So the minigame here is very basic. You play as Penguin, and you have to return Chester's arm, his head, and his legs. Well, I guess his arms, but yeah. So apparently he was destroyed by the rat that we opened that door to the other night. So yeah. Also, I just noticed there's a box for old candy parts in that corner. Note, these cutscenes here are taking place in 1989. I talk about that later, so yeah, we'll bring up that more later. Let's go to night 3, I guess. Night 3 has Wizard Penguin, who attacks like Phantom Balloon Boy, but no jump scare, just fucks up the camera. To avoid him, just shut the cameras, I believe. Yeah. Where else? And you have another new guy tonight, Wizard New Candy, who's just like Sydney. So if I'm not covering much, just not much to cover. I want to change some stuff, but I think the function of Sydney and Candy function the same. That's fine, and the Penguin is unique enough. And Chester, too. Night 4 is where I have an improvement, but before that, I want to talk about the minigame. Yeah, I'm sorry, these sections are short. What do you want me to talk about? It just shows how kind of bad the game is. And to think I've recorded an hour of this footage from a YouTube video. Yeah, see, this is what happens when you don't get rid of Penguin. So yeah, it's funny. Anyways, yeah, onto the minigame. Sorry for these short things. So, the night 3 minigame, you have to walk around as blank. Hint, hint for night 4. And, yeah, you pick them up. You pick up these drawings. You're supposed to collect 5 of them, I think. And one of them's really interesting. It says, "Where's Chester?" So, like, New Candy and New Sydney are there. But where's Chester? Oh, no. Anyways, also, I want to bring up, too, is that when you're in the office, it says 1991. Which is interesting, because the last games we played were 1989. I'm not much of a lore guy, so... Night 4 brings out Blank, or Wizard Blank, I should call him. And, well, here's the improvement I have for this game. It's not much, but it'd make a lot more of a challenge, I would say. So, instead of Blank working like the others, he could have like a foxy like mechanic from FNAF 2. Where we see them down the hallway, and we have to flash them with our camera flash a few times. But yeah, that's all I gotta say for night 4. Blank shows up, and you just gotta fend him off like everyone else. So yeah, I guess we'll talk about the minigame, which has barely anything to talk about. This minigame serves no relevance at all. You know why? Because all you gotta do is just find Candy's tie and give it back to him! Like, it's nothing! So let's talk about night 5! Do I need to cover night 5? Like, genuinely, do I need to cover night 5? If you played a FNAF game before, chances are you know what Night 5 is. It's literally just the animatronics AI level, extremely high. Well, not extremely, but kind of high. And yeah, just the ones you've been dealing with all week. So yeah, anyways, let's just talk about this kind of interesting minigame, I guess you could call it, at the end. So yeah. So the minigame I said was interesting for Night 5, and you see, there's cops outside because the night guard is dead. A night guard is dead? What? And yeah, you go over to try to find Rat's closet, and the cops see you and come over and tase you. And then you get a newspaper saying the factory is set for demolition. That's about it. What else do you want me to say? Let's talk about this Rat and Cat night, or Night 6. And now for Night 6, aka Rat and what was I saying? Rat and Cat Theater Night. So yeah, there's a series I heard and I like that is, in this night you play as Mary Schmidt, aka the girl you play as in Five Nights at Candy 1, and the girl you play as in Five Nights at Candy 3, which I will make a video in the future covering, probably during horror month. But yeah, it makes sense that you're playing as Mary, because why would Marilyn, your daughter that you play as in the first 5 nights, understand about these rat and cat animatronics, especially since they should show up this night? And another thing that happens is you burn down the factory at the end. But yeah, what was I gonna say? Okay, let's talk about the animatronics. So Wizard Cat here acts like Chester mixed with the others. So he can stand down your hallway and see you. And then the same way, you just lure them out the same way. They are more AI, really hard to fight against. They're like everyone else, but very extreme. But Cat here has another thing where he's like Chester, and he'll try to break into your vents. So you have to stop him that way. And also, look, they can camera stack. That's cool. But yeah, see, he can break into your vent, and you just scare him off like Chester. Rat, however, he'll stand in the hallway, and you have to scare him off with the cameras, with the phones. But see, right there, he acts like Penguin, who will stare at the things like Phantom Balloon Boy. And yeah, you just have to scare him off like that. That's literally all for Night 6. Is it much different? No, but I like to change the pace of dealing with the cat and rat. So yeah, let's talk about the minigame, which is honestly one of the longest parts of my video. Alright, so I said this could be the longest part of the video, but let's see. Alright, I found my part in the script. The minigame starts with Old Candy following around Shadow Candy as it's 1965. And you follow him to the parts of service room, and you scare the guard. That's pretty much all you do here. And then the next part, you play as Blank, collecting papers like before, but now you're in 1976. Also, Blank is here, I should mention that. And you see a drawing of Shadow Candy, and then he attacks you. And then you're transported to, I guess, around the same time. And you have to help. You have to help a kid follow Shadow Candy. You follow Shadow Candy, and you have to help a kid. Where you find them in the office, the kid becomes happy, and then you follow them to their father, and they're sad again, and yeah, you attacked father, I guess. And then you see a paper at the end that says that the factory had been burned down. So yeah, that's another reason why we think we play as Mary, because why would Marilyn burn down the factory, and why would it automatically cause a blaze just randomly after 5 days? Or 6 days, I should say. But yeah, anyways, let's get to the conclusion. So that's all, and the only improvement I had was Blank. But like, another one I have is maybe make the nights a little faster. Like sure, they don't have to be like 4 minutes long, but maybe make them like 5. No, not 5. Maybe make them 6 minutes instead of that like 7, 8, 9 minutes long, however long they were. Because the game being that long, especially with no ambience and just boring mechanics, I mean, sure, it gets a little chaotic, but yeah, it's not that bad. But it's also like, yeah, we just get mostly the same old, same old. But yeah, this is my video on Five Nights at Candy 2, and how it's bad, and how maybe it could be improved. So I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next video.